Welcome to Inspire, the Angel Flores podcast, where you'll be inspired, equipped, and entertained.
All right, Jessica, thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for agreeing to come in and share some time with us. And so glad you're here. Let's start out with your story. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up? That kind of stuff.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I was born in Loveland, Colorado. My family moved to Longmont when I was before 5. I started kindergarten in Longmont. Grew up in Longmont, Colorado, and then looked at a lot of places going far away for college and realized.
Were you an athlete in high school?
I was a high school athlete. I did, growing up, I was a competitive jump roper.
Oh,
I know, which no one knows about, right?
I bet I can count on one hand how many people I've ever heard say that.
Yeah, I did
How old were you when you started competitive jump roping?
Elementary school, probably 1st or 2nd grade. I was
in gym class, or
I started in gym class, and then my elementary school, Hygiene Elementary School, in Hygiene, Colorado, had a jump rope team, and
shout out to Hygiene Elementary.
Right?
Home of the Fighting
Hawks. I think Hygiene Hawks.
Hygiene Hawks. All right.
Yeah. Population of like 50 people in the whole town.
All right.
But, and so I did jump rope, actually joined a jump rope team, and I loved it. And then when it was going into junior high at that time, which was 7th grade, I tried out for a team in Boulder that was more of a competitive team. Okay. And so traveled all over the world.
Is that like double Dutch, that kind of thing?
All of it, like double Dutch, like the people you see doing like flips and stuff in the jump ropes.
Uh-huh.
I don't do that anymore. I'm too old, but I used to do that. And then like
is there video somewhere?
There is video.
There is? Okay.
I can show you video.
All right.
And then I did like the speed jumps and like the double unders where it goes twice underneath you.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did that through high school, which was cool because I traveled all over the world. And I was a world champion in jump rope. And so that was pretty cool. But
I never knew that about you. We've known each other a long time.
I know, and you didn't know that. Yeah. But then I also my
LinkedIn bio, if I was you, would start off by saying world champion jump roper.
I don't even have LinkedIn.
Oh, geez. I would lead with that. I'd have a shirt.
Right. There you go. I'm a world champion jump roper.
Where did you go? When you say we traveled?
Denmark, Sweden, Belgium.
Smokes.
Let's see where else. All over the US, Japan.
Dang,
it was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. And I think it's part of what made me love to travel and part of actually what shaped my career to work with students who are English learners, because I spent so much time in diverse cultures. And when we traveled like that, we stayed in people's houses. Wow. I really got to.
You were the one not knowing the culture, customs, language.
Yep. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it was really neat. Yeah. Yeah.
And now I know some of your story. Your father passed when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
So your mom was doing this as a single mom?
Yeah. Yeah. My dad died when I was 5 years old. So right after we moved to Longmont and started in a new place, my father passed away when I was in kindergarten. So my mom, on a high school education only, took care of my brother and I, and was our mom and our dad for our whole lives. And honestly made it look easy. Like, I think growing up, my brother and I didn't really know that
she was struggling, or it was hard for her.
Yeah, we didn't know.
She was an exceptional. Donna has passed, but she was an exceptional woman for sure.
She was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so she's doing this and taking you all over the world, competitive jump roping.
Well,
and you thought it was normal,
right? She didn't take me. I mean, this is crazy.
But she made it.
She let me go. Yeah. And I mean, which is also, I can imagine, must have been hard as a single mom to just let your kid go travel with these teams, right?
Wait, this was in the 80s,
80s and early 90s, right?
Yeah.
And she was. I mean, she knew it was the best thing for me. Right. So even though it was probably really scary for her, she did it.
I mean, the world was very different back then. It was
so different.
You couldn't tell. There was not any instant communication.
Yeah.
So she's like, my kid's going to Denmark. Call me when you get there.
Right.
And she'll hear from you in 30 hours.
Right.
Or
sometimes not even. Like, sometimes you couldn't even call, right?
Yes.
And she'd see me in 3 weeks, and she just did it.
How was it?
It was,
brought some wooden shoes for you, Mom.
Yeah. That's kind of what it was. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, cool. Anyway, so then, what? Any other sports in high school?
Yeah. So in junior high, I had a science teacher who, I was a pretty chubby kid. Like, despite doing jump rope, I was not the most in shape person. And I had this science teacher.
Shout out to the chubby people. It's hard, man. We're with you.
This science teacher, he said one day, I think you look like a runner, which he was straight up lying. Like, I did not look like a runner. And he said, yeah, I bet you'd be good at cross country.
Someone who should run.
Right. That's maybe what he more meant. Like, hey,
I've heard that.
You should get going. So I joined cross country, and I was the worst, the absolute worst on the team. I was the slowest, but I loved it. And he said, if you want to get good at this, what you have to do is work hard and run. And I was like, I can do that.
It's pretty simple. Yeah. Just keep doing it.
I can just do that. So that summer I worked every single day, and I worked so hard. And when I went from junior high to high school, he moved up to high school and happened to, and was the high school cross country coach. And I went from being the absolute worst in track and cross country in junior high to being one of the top runners and team captain. And and so did cross country and track in high school, and then
lost some weight, I'm guessing, with all the running.
Ran a lot, lost some weight, kept jump roping, and then went to college on a track and cross country scholarship.
So, I've run a lot. I wouldn't say a lot. You've run a lot. I've run a little. I've had the runner's high one time my whole life where I was like, this is fun. The rest of the time, it's the opposite of fun to me. But running is interesting though, because just about anybody can do it. And I mean, there's really low, barrier to entry. And yeah, you're right. I never thought of it in those terms, but you just keep doing it and you're going to get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
So where'd you go to school?
To UNC.
All right.
Here.
How'd you pick UNC?
Initially, like I said, I thought I wanted to go far away. I looked at schools in Texas and different places. But I also realized I was a good runner, but I wasn't great, and I needed to go, and I wanted to keep doing this. I had the motivation to keep going, and UNC said, we'll give you that chance. You can come run.
It was a Division II school.
Division II school. And they said, you can come run.
So those of you that are from far away, UNC is the real UNC, not North Carolina. It's University of Northern Colorado, the real UNC.
That's right.
So Jessica went about an hour from home, 45 minutes from home.
45 minutes from home. And actually, my mom dropped me off at college. And the first time I wanted to go back, I had never driven that far. I had to call her and ask for directions on how to get home.
There's no GPS back then.
There's no GPS, right? And I didn't know how to get home. In high school, I was allowed to go 30 minutes in any direction was my mom's rule. You could drive 30 minutes in any direction and no farther. So I'd never been as far as Greeley. So I wanted to come home and visit my mom. And I didn't
go towards the mountains till you hit I-25.
So she had to give me directions. But yeah, I chose UNC to stay close to family. And because I had the opportunity to run, and they told me, come. You can walk on. A man named Scott Hall was the coach at that time, and he said, "Prove yourself, and we might have money for you." And so
I just need an opportunity.
Yeah, and that's what I needed. Just open the door a little bit, and I'll find a way. So, yeah, earned a scholarship, and
you, what was your degree in?
Kinesiology and physical education. Okay. Actually, was and then I had a minor in Spanish. So
all right, so. PE teacher, was that the plan, or a physical trainer?
PE teacher, and my first 3 years in teaching, that's what I did. I taught PE, but oftentimes you can't quite fill a position as PE, so they gave me something else. So I taught ESL at the time, language development, and started doing that. And I realized, you know what, that's what I love. This is really
what I want to do. Yeah.
PE's fun. It was fun to play games.
Dodgeball.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's the dream, man. I mean,
right. Yeah. So I started elementary PE, teaching a little bit of ESL on the side. And then I realized that's actually was what my passion
was.
Where
were you teaching?
Started in Brighton, at North Elementary School, and I loved it. But then I had the opportunity to
Go Bulldogs, right?
Yeah.
Brighton Bulldogs.
Brighton Bulldogs. And then I had the opportunity to go back to Longmont. And so I taught a couple of years at Central Elementary School in Longmont. And then met my husband. And
how'd you guys meet?
oh my gosh, you're the pastor. I don't want to tell you. At a bar.
Well, Dan
we met at a bar.
Dan and I met at a hot tub party.
All right. Well, okay. All right. Equal then.
Yep.
Yeah. We met at a bar in Denver of all places. So
okay.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Oh my gosh, what was it called? It was an Irish bar of all places. I can't remember.
O'Hanahan's, O'Shanahan's.
I don't know. John will remember. He has a better memory than me. So then we realized we wanted to get married, and one of us needed to move. He lived in Greeley.
Date?
Oh my gosh. He proposed to me after only about 6 months or so. When you know, right?
John.
5 or 6 months. Yeah. So,
right.
So I decided, I knew by then that elementary kids were great, but they weren't necessarily my people. I liked high school kids.
Okay.
So I was ready for a career change, and I knew I wanted to move to doing ESL at the time, language development. And so it made more sense for me to move back to Greeley.
ESL, that's what the programs were called in general back then. English second
English
language.
is second language. Yeah.
Okay.
And now we call it English language development. But
okay.
Yeah.
ELD.
ELD
Wasn't it
or
ELL for a while?
ELL for a while.
Okay.
CLD. It's been a lot of things, but language development for people who are still learning English.
Okay.
So,
cool.
Yeah. So I moved to
you
Greeley.
said, I want to do that. Got a job in Greeley doing it. That's why you guys came to Greeley?
That's why he was already in Greeley. So made sense for me to move. And so there we are.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into too much of his story because I'm going to have him on because he's got some crazy things to share. But all right. So then you get here. Are you still running, still doing that kind of stuff during that time?
Yeah, I was still running, just kind of casually running with friends, and then decided
5Ks, that kind of stuff.
5Ks, 10Ks, coaching. I was coaching, teaching and coaching at Northridge High School here in Greeley at the time.
Okay.
And met a friend, and she said, "Hey, I just did a marathon." And I was like, "Sweet, I bet I could do that." And so decided
let's stop there for a second. What do you think? The average American, for sure, the average human being, maybe, when they hear, I just did a marathon, most people would say, that's crazy.
I was going with that stupid, but yes.
Yeah, that is stupid. What's the matter with you, right? That is crazy. 26.2.
Yeah.
To be exact. 26 miles of running. And you said, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I think I'll try. What's the farthest you had run prior to that?
Probably a half marathon.
So 13 miles.
Yeah. So I've probably done about half, but I love a challenge. And I mean, I think I've told you this before. I am a weirdo who really legit, I love to work hard. And I like to push myself. I was telling someone yesterday, man, I hate rest days. And she was like, nobody hates rest days. And I was like, no, I really do. Like, it's so boring. But I like to push myself and like to challenge. So yeah, my friend said, hey, I just did a marathon. I was like, that sounds fun. I'm going to train for that. So I did. And I completed it was the Denver International Marathon, which doesn't even exist anymore. But
where'd you guys run? Where was it?
I kind of through downtown Denver. It was really, really cool. And I did one, and then I was like, wow, this is awesome.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I loved it. And so I thought I should do another one. So did a few of those, and yeah. And then
okay, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Because this is why I wanted to talk to you. How did you get involved in triathlons and Ironman specifically?
So I the first way was, I did the Boston Marathon the year it was record-setting heat. It was awful. And as I finished, I kind of messed up my knee a little bit. And so I realized, I might have to think of some other things besides running to do here. And so I had a couple of friends who ran with me, but also did triathlons. And I thought I should try that. But I didn't have a bike. I had like an old bike from Walmart.
Right.
But I didn't have a good bike. And I also
the old 10-speed or
like
bike.
the $69 one from Walmart. So I was like, I probably should get a bike. And then also I didn't really know how to swim. I could swim, but not competitively.
You could stay alive.
I could stay alive and have fun, but not really swim. So friend of mine is the swim coach at Greeley West. So he agreed to take me to a pool and teach me how to swim enough that I could get going.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I had some money from some extra job I'd done or something. Colin Sheehy.
Big shout out to Colin Sheehy. All right.
He's the best coach. He's so good. But so he taught me to swim, had a little extra money. So I bought a bike, and girlfriend of mine was doing a triathlon. And so I said, hey, can I get a ride with you? And jumped in and just did it. Mm. And
how far was that one?
It was just a sprint. So it was
just a sprint. Yeah.
It was short. About a half mile, not quite a half mile swim, probably like 500 or 600 meters. And then the bike ride was maybe 15 miles, I think. Okay. And then the run was a 5K.
3 miles. Yeah.
Yeah. But up to that point, before I walked to the starting line, I had never, ever been in open water to swim. So, in fact, growing up.
So those of you that are listening, there are different kinds of sprint triathlons. And some you do the swimming in a pool, which is very safe.
Yeah. Some
you do it in open water. And in Colorado, the open water is cold because it's basically melted snow, recently melted snow. So swimming in open water in Colorado means you're swimming in a big lake, and it's deep. People
It was deep.
Can die for sure, right? You had never done it.
No.
First time you got in open water. Were you wearing a wetsuit?
I was wearing a wetsuit. Okay. I had borrowed one from a friend. I didn't even own one. And growing up, my husband will tell you, I was terrified of open water. Terrified. Like even as a kid, we would go to lakes. I remember even going to the park, and I didn't want to run in sprinklers because it came from lake water. Like that's how scared I was of open water. And so
what was it about that? Was it just did you see a scare? Did you watch Friday the 13th and Jason came out? Or
no, I've never seen that movie, but I think it was, I couldn't see. It's so murky. Okay. The water's really murky. Mm-hmm. And even like my brother and I once went snorkeling, and I screamed and cried the whole time because I was so scared of the open water. Even though, I don't know, like I just was really scared. I was kind of fearful.
Everybody has their own anxieties for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was a fearful kid, but I had also just decided at that point, like, I'm done being scared. I'm over this. Like, I can't let fear rule my life. And so, yeah. So I was like, all right, well, there's one way to go is pay for the entry fee.
Have you ever been to the ocean at night?
Yeah.
That is scary.
That's scary.
That's really scary.
Although I will tell you, it's pretty cool to swim in the dark now. Like now that I'm more used to it, I kind of like swimming in the dark.
Yikes. Okay.
It's weird and scary, but also pretty cool. But yeah.
You're tougher than me for sure.
So I just started that triathlon and jumped into the water and went and
just went for it.
And I actually won my age division in that first one. It might have been the only one I've ever won my age division, but at the very
doesn't
first
matter.
And it totally got me hooked.
Nowhere to go but down from there, huh?
Right. And so I got home from that one, and I told my husband, this was so much fun. I love it. I'm going to sign up for an Ironman. And so I did.
Wait, so you went from a sprint triathlon to an Ironman?
Yeah. Yeah. I signed up that night for an Ironman, and then I thought, well, I should probably do a half Ironman in the middle. So I signed up for a half Ironman and an Ironman that evening, I think. I know.
Now you guys see why I wanted to have Jessica on. So the distance, what are the distances in an Ironman? You start out swimming
2.4 miles.
2.4 miles.
And then the bike ride's
Let's not gloss over that.
Yeah.
You're swimming 2.4 miles.
Yeah.
Many people could not walk or run 2.4 miles. Yeah. Swimming 2.4 miles is really hard.
I couldn't do the 0.4 miles of that.
Yeah, it's a really far swim.
Right, so 2.4 miles, and it's open water because there's no pools. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, open water, 112 mile bike ride, and then a marathon. So 26.2 mile run.
Just to finish it off.
Yeah. So I signed up for that.
John Collins is the guy that started Ironman, isn't he? John Collins. He was like a Navy SEAL or some.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I always loved this quote. You can quit and nobody will care. You'll always know.
I actually, I have that hanging in my office, and then it's actually saved on my computer. A lot of times it's my screensaver on my computer.
It's a good one. Yeah. I had that hanging around my house when I did the longest I've ever done was a sprint. And I had that hanging around while I was training because I was so scared of the open water too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And swimming in the Boulder Lake, when you put your face down in the water, it's just orange.
Yeah.
It's just like this cloudy orange. You don't see
Yeah.
anything. And that was scary. But John Collins, shout out to him. Anyway, so you signed up for both.
I signed up
one
for
night.
Both. In one night. The full Ironman was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I signed up for.
What did your husband think of this? He knows you already, obviously.
I know. He just said, "Yeah, go for it." Yeah, I mean, I have a great.
He obviously
husband.
did not say, "I'll do it with you."
Yeah, no. He said I would come watch. He said, "I'll bring the girls. We'll come watch."
Snacks.
Right. But never once did he say, "I'm into." He just said, "Yeah." So,
what year was the first one?
Oh, that was 2000. I think about 2011. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and then I signed up for this half Ironman in New Orleans.
All right.
Convinced my friend to do the half Ironman with me, but I didn't convince anyone to do the full with me. So did the training all by myself, which is a lot of training. It was lonely sometimes, but I would get friends who'd be like, "Yeah, I'll run with you." Or I had some other people I knew who'd done an Ironman, so it always felt doable to me because I knew other people.
Mm.
So I went to New Orleans with a friend of mine. We had no idea what we were doing. The swim was in Lake Pontchartrain. I mean, which is like an ocean. It's like ocean swimming, which I had never done.
And it's warm, I bet.
It was pretty warm, and it's dirty. Like, we got out of there and we wiped the oil off of our skin with towels. It was nasty. And to start the race, like, neither of us had ever been in waves before, like in ocean waves. And it was windy and not great weather. To start the race, you had to jump off a dock and into this murky wave water and
then try and start.
Just go. Yeah. It was crazy. So we finished. It was super fun. And then, did my first full Ironman and I loved it. I loved it.
I want to talk a little bit about because I know some of your training regimen and stuff, but have you listened to David Goggins or have you ever read any of his stuff?
No,
he's the only guy that completed Navy SEAL BUDS training and is also a Army Ranger.
Wow.
And so his story, he was like 350 pounds and got sick of it and decided to join the military. And, he showed up at a race one time. It was a 100-mile race, ultra marathon. And he was not a runner. The most he had ever run was 10 miles and he did it.
Yeah.
He's bleeding and, whatever. So he's a phenomenal test case for humanity. But anyway, one of the things he said that he aspires to be is exceptional among exceptional people. And when he said that, I thought of you because when you're around other triathletes, it doesn't feel as scary or as intimidating. To the average person, they're all like, "You guys are insane," right? Talk a little bit about that. What do you think the dynamic is when you said, "Well, I was around other people and they had done it, so it seemed doable"? Like, talk about that for a second.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that is always, I mean, it's interesting because, when you hear other people doing something, then you're like, I can too, right? Or at least I'd like to try. I mean, that's always my attitude is, hey, let's try this. Let's do something new. Why not?
Yeah.
And so I don't know what that is. But
putting yourself in those circles.
Yeah.
Is what does that.
It helps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's interesting is because I have this group that really inspired me to do it, right? And made me feel like I could. And so I've really tried to be that for other people and have talked a couple of friends into doing an Ironman too, just because they're like, well, if she can, I bet I could. Right. Like,
yes. Yeah.
There's a song that I heard once and I love that lyric of if I can, you can too. Right. Like just that idea that like, why not? I'm not a particularly great athlete. Like I'm not super special or super talented. You just need to work hard. And that was the advice I got from a friend of mine. I remember when I was going to do my first Ironman, she said, all you have to do is decide at the beginning that you're going to finish.
Decide at the beginning of the training.
Yeah. At the beginning of the training, decide like, how far do you want to take this? Like, and she said, and then at the beginning of the race, right before you get in the water, you say to yourself, I'm going to finish this today. And then it's going to get awful. Right. And it did. Right. Like it gets awful multiple times in an Ironman. Like the last one I did, I was in a ditch in pouring rain in 6 inches of mud, changing a tire.
That's awful.
On my bike, sobbing. Right. And I thought to myself, I'm going to finish this. So I did. I did. It was a disaster and it wasn't my best time, but I finished because I made that decision at the beginning that I'm going to see this through.
Yes.
Right. And I think like,
do you ever ask yourself, so you're riding your bike in the pouring rain for fun?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like this is you don't have to do this.
Right. It was so you're dumb.
Choosing to do this.
Yeah. Such a dumb idea.
But do you ever just think to yourself, what am I doing?
Oh yeah.
Why am I doing? What's
100%.
the matter with me?
Right.
Like talk about like, how do you process through that kind of
100%
self-talk?
I mean, that is something you think all the time, like, why am I even doing this? But then like, now this is where I'm gonna need to use your Kleenexes, but this is the answer to that. So the other day I was running with my friend and I'm telling her she's about to do her first Ironman. So we're training together. Right. And I was saying, you got to bring your kids. They need to see you finish. She has little boys. And I said, you got to bring your kids. And I was telling her about, it's so important for them to see what it looks like to set a goal and work and sacrifice and see somebody see it through to the end. Right. And like, and she said to me, I see that in your girls and they're teenagers now. Right. And she said, I just see that in your kids and how hard they work. And I was like, and that's why, right? I do it so that my kids can see that example,
right?
That hard work does pay off every time. And you don't need to be the best or the smartest or the fastest or whatever. But if you just work hard and show up every single day.
Don't quit. I mean, it's such a cliche. You don't quit. Right. But I mean, that's it. I mean,
that's the answer.
There's something about grit.
Right.
And
so
I love that. I'm going to finish this today.
Yeah. It's interesting. That's the advice I've given everyone as they say they're going to try something. I always say, you just make the decision at the beginning that you're still going to be in it at the end. And I mean, that advice that probably the woman who gave it to me probably just gave it offhand, right? And wasn't even thinking about it. That has carried me through so many things, not just triathlons, but like when work gets hard, when life gets hard, like I'm going to see this through. I'm going to finish this.
Yeah.
So
that is so good. How old are the girls?
They're 16 and 14.
16 and 14. Yeah. Very important window.
Yeah.
In their lives.
Yeah.
So formative, so important. And, as a parent, your kids don't see all your struggles and they shouldn't. Kids shouldn't feel the weight of bills and they need to understand that's how the life works and all that. But at the same time, they don't need to carry any of that weight. But this is a very tangible way that they can watch mom struggle and overcome.
Yeah. And then, as young women too, there's so many things out there with body image and all of these things. So I love that they can see their mom who doesn't look perfect in any way, and that they can be out there and seeing all of these women and men of different shapes and sizes all out there doing that. Like in my mind, having them see that, and I just
go do the thing, whatever the thing is.
Go do the thing. It doesn't matter the body shape that God gave you. Just go do the thing. Yeah. You can do it. So
yes, that's good. That is so good. How many have you done now?
I'm training for Ironman number 6.
Wow. So when is it?
Completed 5. The end of October.
Where's it at?
California, in Sacramento.
Okay.
So yeah, super excited.
Where are you going to swim there?
It's actually, this is going to be the best. It's a downriver swim. So you swim with the current.
Whoa.
I know. So a little extra push there, but yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yes, that'll be really cool.
Because running downhill is not awesome.
Not awesome, but
swimming down
with the current, that is awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where have the other ones been? Do you remember?
Yeah. So I did one in Coeur d'Alene,
And you did that one by yourself?
by myself. And that one was cool. That's a very, very hilly course. If you've ever been to Coeur d'Alene, you can imagine.
Idaho's, Idaho is beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
And I don't know why it's so, I don't know how populated it is. It doesn't seem very populated to me. It is incredibly beautiful. Anyway.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. And the water was bathwater clear. It was cold. It was about 60 degrees. It was cold. But the water was clear. You could see everything. And then the next two were both in Boulder when there was a full Ironman here. So that was fun to do it right in our own backyard.
Cool. Yeah.
And then I did Ironman Texas. And then the last one I did was last year. I did Ironman Tulsa in pouring rain, on and off pouring rain for hours upon hours.
Talk a little bit, Jessica, about your morning routine and what time you get up to train and kind of how you fit it in because you have a very busy life.
Yeah.
You're director of, it was up until very recently, were the director of the English Language Learners Program in District 6, a large school district in Colorado. Now you're the new
assistant principal at Greeley Central High School.
Right. So just took a major career jump.
Yeah.
A different environment, really exciting, really cool. So you have a full life. You're married, got 2 very active kids. How do you find time to train? Talk about your schedule.
I get up really, really early. My husband would tell you I get up when other people are going to bed.
The people listening don't really know what you mean by early.
That's true. 3 a.m. I get up at 3 a.m. And I take a few minutes when I get up, hang out with my dog for a moment, kind of wake up, and then start working out, either depending on if I'm training for an Ironman or doing something or not, head to the gym, or maybe in the basement and riding my bike on the trainer. A lot of times right now with the Ironman, I'm getting in 2 workouts a day, sometimes 3. So like this morning I did a bike ride and then a swim. And
how long was the bike ride?
I did it by minutes. So it was 75 minutes. Okay. And then
how far would you go in a typical 75-minute bike ride?
That's hard to say. Probably like 20 some miles, 25 something. And then we did a swim. It was about 2,800 meters in the lake. So
for Americans, how far is that?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know. Can't even do math. I don't know.
Because a mile is like 1,500 meters.
Something like that. It's a good math problem for someone to figure out.
So mile and a half, maybe
close
to 2 miles.
A little over a mile and a half. Yeah, something like that. So
there are people listening that know that.
Yeah, there are people listening. My husband knows
Americans
the answer.
Are dumb.
Right there. Yeah, but I don't know the answer.
Long swim for sure. Yeah.
And then come home, like when it's school time, spend a little time with my kids, make sure they're out of bed, ready to go. Especially having 2 teenagers, that's a challenge every single morning. And then, coffee and breakfast and walk the dog and out the door into work. I've never asked a woman this.
How many calories do you consume when you're training?
Okay. So straight up, I don't really focus, and I don't know that. I don't know the answer.
Do you just eat whatever you want?
No. I mean, I'm careful and I try not to eat too much junk food, but I also believe everything in moderation, and I love food. And so I don't restrict my diet a lot. And I'm careful, and I don't eat a ton of junk, but I also love cake and cookies and all those things. So I eat those.
So do I.
And I try to show my kids that you can eat and enjoy food in moderation. And I mean, I don't weigh myself. I don't do those things because I want to be that example that if you're healthy and you're active and you really try for balance.
And you can tell by the way your clothes fit. And,
right. You can do that. a number on a scale doesn't have to define you, and a number of calories, right, doesn't have to define you. So, I don't know how many.
So you don't do those Michael Phelps 12,000 calorie.
No. But I I am
You've got to be
careful.
burning a lot of calories.
You're burning a lot, especially with training. And so I try to make sure I have 3 meals and then at least 2 snacks throughout the day too.
Right.
But trying to be healthy as I can.
Right.
Although
But also burning a ton of calories.
Yeah.
Every day.
And I have a candy dish in my office. So I visit that every day.
We used to have one here and I don't know what happened to it. I'm a little salty about it. When you're off and you're not training for a race, you just go to the gym,
I love working out. I mean, and it's interesting because a lot of people say like, man, I hate working out. Like I love it. And it makes me better. It makes me able to regulate my stress and emotions. And it's kind of like the way that I process. And, one of my friends jokes that we go so early that we can call it ladies' night. And like it's our ladies' night time together, right? Like when you're a working parent and you're trying to be a good wife and a good mom, you don't often have a ton of time to just hang out with friends. So really working out is my girlfriend time too. So I love it. But yeah, it's a little more unstructured, still running, take some classes at the gym and things like that. But I still go at least 6 days a week.
Do you still get up at 3 a.m. when you're...
Yeah. I like getting up early. I mean, I've kind of gotten
myself... Time do you go to bed?
Not early enough. 9:30.
Okay. So 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And
and Elon Musk, 6 hours.
So are you one of those people who falls asleep the instant your head hits the pillow?
Well, I try to read a little bit each night, but sometimes there's a lot of reading and sometimes there's a book on my face in 2 minutes and my husband comes in later and plucks the book off my face and turns off the light. But yeah, I do fall asleep pretty fast and
I struggled to read, to discipline myself to sit down and read. And then we started doing Audible. It was, I don't listen to music much in my car anymore. I listen to books.
Yeah.
That was a major game changer because I'd get in bed and I'm going to try and I'm out.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's just change gears. A couple other questions. What's the best compliment you've ever received? And what's an insult you've received that you're proud of?
So, I think they're actually the same almost. So I had this amazing track coach in high school. His name was Coach Mack. And I still keep in touch with him today. And I remember he told me once, you don't have a ton of natural talent, but that's okay because you work harder than anyone else. And I just have always kept that with me. Like, you don't have a ton of natural talent. And I remember because he saw I was frustrated that like, these other girls were winning and he said, but it's okay. You work harder. You'll get this in the end. And I think about that a lot now, right? Like how many of those people that I knew that had a ton of natural talent, they aren't even working out anymore. They aren't running.
That's
right?
There's a dime a dozen.
Yeah. But hard work matters in the end. And he taught me that. I mean, I was so lucky. He taught me that as a sophomore in high school. So
I heard a quote once that said, hard work will beat talent every time when talent fails to work hard.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So again, like that's one of those that kind of both fell into the same.
So in the middle of all this, Jessica, what do you hope people, when they think, each of us someday are going to pass from this planet, right? We're all, mortality rate is still 100%. None of us are getting out of here alive. What are you hoping people will remember you for as? What are you hoping that legacy looks like?
I want people to remember that that I made a difference. Maybe not a huge difference, but I've certainly changed some lives in some children that I've taught in our school district and in our community. And I hope that someday someone says, I did it, like if she can, I could too. And I did it because I saw her do it and she motivated me. So I hope that. I mean, obviously I want my kids to think I'm a great mom. I hope my husband remembers me as a great wife. I mean, my dog's definitely going to think I'm awesome. He thinks I'm awesome anyway. But yeah, I hope people say, she inspired me to do this, whatever it was. But And I hope,
yeah.
I hope people say that, that I worked really hard and I showed up every day, right? I showed up and gave it my all every single day.
You certainly inspired me and gave me the guts to do 4 triathlons. I'm now retired.
You can come out of retirement. It's never too late.
Yeah, you certainly have inspired me. There's another question I wanted to get on, and then we'll have a couple more and we'll be wrapping up. But if you had a Mount Rushmore monument of your life, I've been thinking about that a lot lately. We all have, or we should, hopefully we have people that there's no such thing as self-made.
Right.
I think it's silly when we all stand on the shoulders of people who went ahead of us, right? You certainly had a young widowed mom who, she made it happen.
Yeah.
And did not let you guys lack or even know that she was struggling or whatever, right? Incredible lady. We all have, so who would be on your Mount Rushmore that you just think, man, those people really, they all contributed to who Jessica is now?
My mom would be the first one, right? She just, my goodness, like you want to talk about someone who sacrificed for her children. If I could be half the mom she was, then I would be satisfied. She was incredible. So she would be one of mine. And then my other one would be Coach Mac, my track coach, who just taught me that hard work wins every single time.
Yes.
And who every time something was difficult in my life, he was there. When there was something positive, he was there to celebrate. Like he was incredible. And then honestly, the third one, I had a student who I've shared with you before was the reason we started coming to church. His name was Abdiel Morales, and he died in a car accident. And he was a tough kid, and I'm sure his mom's
15 years old.
Yeah,
I believe.
15 years old, and young man he struggled. He was in a gang.
A hard life for sure. Yes,
in a gang, and couldn't read very well. That's why he was in my class. And when he passed away, I remember watching his mom, but going to his funeral is what, in the end, brought our family to God, right? And I just think all the time about his life was not in vain. And he would have been the one, he'd be my third one on my Mount Rushmore, because he didn't just change my life. He changed the trajectory of my entire family. So yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
We
did his funeral at our old location, and it was packed.
Yeah.
It was awful. Anytime a young person passes, it's exceptionally difficult, but I'll never forget, people were standing in the hallway looking in the windows. It was so full.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. So couple more.
Okay.
One thing that I wanted to ask you, what have you done that I should do?
Oh, I know. I thought that's a good question. I have lots of suggestions. Start getting up at 3 a.m.
I was going to say, it better not involve any races or.
So one of the coolest things I've done is I did the Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon. And I would tell anyone you should do that, right? Because the feeling of swimming in the Pacific Ocean is unlike anything else.
You start on Alcatraz Island?
They drive you out on a boat you out. And then you have to jump off the boat. And it's about probably a 25-foot drop, I would guess. 25 foot drop.
Holy smokes.
And they count you out, and they go 1, 2, 3, jump. And you have that long to jump, right? So you jump into the water, and you have to jump with your arms out, because you have to pop back up fast enough, or the next person will jump on top of you. And then you start swimming. And
so you hit that water and you got to go.
And it's cold, like it's in the 50s. So you hit the water and you just go, and the current's strong. But it was just such a cool experience.
How long is the swim?
A mile, maybe like 1.4 or 1.7 miles. It also depends on how you hit the current and if you swim right, because there's no buoys. So you have to mark by what's on shore, which I've never done because I hadn't swum in the ocean before that day. which was
So you have to pick your head up. Those listening, what that means is as you're swimming, you have to pick your head up. In a pool, people mark with the lines on the bottom of the pool. I never knew that's what they were for.
Yeah.
Until I started swimming.
Yeah.
Right. So then, but in open water, you have to pick your head up and find a tree or a building or something, or else you get yelled at and, hey, you're off course.
Right.
And,
Or you just, like in the case of this race, you end up a half mile farther than what you should have. Right. So yeah, it was just, I just remember at one point in the swim, I stopped and I looked one way and all you could see was ocean. And then I looked the other way and you could barely see the shore. And I just sat there for a minute and I was like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever done, just to be out in the middle of the ocean. It was so cool. And then,
see, that's not what I would have been thinking. I'm thinking, this is terrifying. What am I doing? What's the matter with me? Why am I doing this?
I mean, those things too. And then I thought, people talk about sharks. I should probably keep swimming. And so I did keep going. And then, I mean, just the bike ride through the hills of San Francisco is my favorite. It's my favorite big city. And then the run was part on the beach and like went up some crazy long staircase. And it was just beautiful. Yeah. Like just one of the coolest, just such a cool race.
They have a sprint version of that.
You have to just do the big one.
Yeah.
But it's real fun.
Let me pray about it. All right. 2 more questions.
All right.
One, are you successful? What does that word mean to you? Everybody wants to be successful. We all, head out trying to do the thing, whatever the thing is, right? What do you think that word means? And do you think you're successful?
I mean, if success meant, will I be a millionaire? No, never. But for me, success is, I mean, if I died tomorrow, would people have said I made a difference? And my answer to that is yes. So I think, yes, I'm successful. I've been able to overcome fear and try things I never thought I could do. And I've been able in my very small corner of the world to make the world a better place for at least a few people.
Yes.
Right?
How many years were you in the classroom with English language learning
18.
students?
18. Before
That's a generation of people.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you've impacted an entire generation of families.
Yeah.
Hundreds of students, maybe more.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been able to make a difference. And so yeah, my answer is yes. And I think I've helped to inspire some people to do things they wouldn't have otherwise done.
That's great. Yeah, great definition. Last, where have you seen God in all of this?
Oh, every single time I was thinking about, right, career-wise, every single time it's time to make a career change. It feels like God is the one whose hand is in it and just makes the direction so very clear. I mean, that certainly happened right now as I switched to this new job, that it just, the doors kept opening and the confirmation kept happening that like, yep, you're still doing the right thing. I have the tendency, weirdly, where I like to try other things and am not afraid to try new things. Job-wise, I tend to stay too long and get comfortable. And so
we all do.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
change is scary.
Change
especially
can be scary.
If I've learned that I like change if it's my idea.
Yeah.
But if it's being imposed on me, even a little, even by God or anybody else,
it's scary.
It's scary, yeah.
It's scary, but that's one place. And then the other thing, I see God every time that I'm not scared to try something, right? Like in my mind, that's my faith saying, I have this bracelet that says my faith is stronger than my fear. And I wear that all the time and just think, right? Like that's the thing I have to believe, that every single time my faith is stronger than my fear.
That is good. I love that. Cool. Well, thank you, Jessica.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. I know everybody that heard this is encouraged. So I will put a way to contact you in the show notes if anybody wants to get a hold of you.
Great.
If anybody wants to try a triathlon, she's the one. So thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.